Hey guys, yeah, first video of the year, and yeah, it's been a while again. Unfortunately, there's never a dull moment in my life, as you well know. So, unfortunately, last time I think I did a video as regards anything to do with hobby, via, bar the one I did on New Year, obviously, because I was still sick then. Um, I've only actually just got back to work yesterday, believe it or not, 5 weeks on. So yeah, it's not been the easiest end and start to the year. Health wise, yeah, I got laid low with a very severe chest infection to the effect that it was aggravating my asthma. And that just floored me. So I was virtually bedridden for about 3 weeks. Um, yeah, not easy. I was off work for 5 weeks. Every time I tried to get back to work, my health just went nosedived. So it was just a case of taking as much rest as possible and letting my system recover from the virus. Because obviously I've got a history of heart trouble, and when it comes to respiratory illnesses, you've just got to be extremely careful and just rest. I've never felt so damn ill in my life, to be honest with you. I did suspect it could possibly be COVID, but I kept testing myself, got the results back, and they were always negative. So it was just a case of getting in touch with the surgery, so much so I think they were sort of like, oh, not him again. So I had 2 sets of antibiotics. First lot didn't touch me. Second lot, yeah, it eased it. But obviously, it was then the recovery of getting over the illness because all my lungs and my chest were inflamed, which was aggravating the asthma as well. So I just had no energy and virtually no appetite. Yeah, so not the easiest end and start to the year, and also personally, my relationship broke down during the course of my illness. So yeah, that came out the blue, not on my part, and it was not my decision. It was her decision to break off the relationship. Not at a good time either, when I was at my lowest. So yeah, enough said about that matter. But it's just one of those things. It either works out or it doesn't. But for what it was worth, we had a good year together. So there you go. But I've moved on now, and nor I would suspect she has as well. So yeah, clean break, best thing really sometimes. So there you go. Other than that, I've been keeping up and watching all you guys' videos whilst I've been ill. And obviously, I'm now sort of at a peak where I'm starting to feel normal again. So, for that very reason, I've got today off after having gone back to work for the first day yesterday. Nice, easy week. 2 days I've got, and then I'm off for the weekend. So, and then another week, and then I'm off for 2 weeks. So, yeah, ease myself back into it, as it were. And obviously the fuzz is back, as you can see, because I just didn't get a chance to keep, I was just that exhausted, and I thought, you know what, let's keep it. So it's going to be staying for a while. So there you go. Anyway, what I thought I would do over the last couple of months, I've had some new additions to the stash, so I thought I would do a stash update for you guys. And at the moment, just on YouTube, as you can see, there's a hangout on, so I've just put it on mute to do this video. So there you go. Anyway, there's been quite a few new releases from Airfix. I've got some of their previous releases from last year, and we're going to start as regards aircraft kits. So the first one up, again, I've got another one of these reissued Concordes, because I'm actually going to get another one before they go off sale, because I think they're getting to the end of their run now. Because obviously the Airfix have reissued some of their other old releases in their classic vintages range, so they stop others, and I'm going to get one more of these. Reason is because as I want to get building again, I'm going to build myself a few Concordes. 2 prototypes, and obviously I'm going to do one in the BOAC scheme, which I think was for a press release when they announced they'd ordered them. So I do remember seeing a magazine photo of one painted in the scheme outside one of the hangars at Heathrow. So yeah, that's going to make an interesting project. I mean, it's basically moulded on the prototypes anyway, and FDecal, believe it or not, do colour schemes for the French and the British prototypes. So I'm going to get both of those, and I will build them as well as the BOAC scheme one. So yeah, that's one for the future. And another one which there's, I think, going out of production again is this one, because they seem to be getting steadily fewer and fewer. It's a classic 1930s airliner which was well known and seen outside, flying out of Croydon Airport in its heyday in the 30s. It's the Handley Page HP 42 Heracles. Now the only disappointing thing on this is because it's got large windows and large canopy, unfortunately there's no interior detail, which I was very surprised at. So I know Paul Bratton suggested getting on to Hannants and see if they did anything. I will look that up, Paul. But if I do know a former YouTuber who I hope will get back onto YouTube soon, that's Mr. Gary Bottoms of Making Models for You. He actually built a Heracles. In fact, he built 2, one with a new interior. So Gary, if you can just drop me a line or leave a comment if you're watching this video and let me know, or even PM me and let me know how you went around building the interior for it, or if you managed to get the interior detail set and who from. So that would be brilliant. In fact, the other week whilst I was convalescing, I saw a post of a Japanese model maker who built this and done a diorama of it inside the supposed maintenance hangar at Croydon Airport, with figures going over it, maintaining it and giving it a good service. So fantastic. In fact, I think it was that good I posted it up on my Facebook page. So if any of you subscribed on it, scroll down and take a look. It is just absolutely amazing, especially at this scale. Mind you, having said that, this is quite a big aircraft in 1/144th, especially with the double wings as well. So yeah, should make for an interesting subject. So yeah, going on to starting modern airliners. I've got one of the jetliners that Zvesta brought out, and obviously they're getting hard to get hold of now. I think you can only either get them via the States or in Germany. There are still a few out there, but obviously it's getting more and more expensive to get hold of these now, because obviously the actual manufacturer is based in Russia and we all know what's going on out there. So I managed to snap myself one of these up. It's a lovely looking little airline. It's not too dissimilar looking to the old A320 or A220. It's the Superjet 100. As I say, it looks a smashing little aeroplane. Well moulded kit. I have to say, their airliner range is second to none. The detail on it is very good, and obviously there's a company called tbdecals which actually do etch brass sets if you want to put more added detail onto the kit. So yeah, that's going to make a superb little project in the near future. And we've got one here. Sorry for the croaky voice. Comes and goes. This is an old classic that I used to see a lot at Heathrow. Well-known traditional trijet. It's not the Trident, it's its stablemate. This is Midicraft's Boeing 727-200, and the actual colour scheme is really rather nice. It's actually the Yellowbird 727-200 of Northwest Yellowbird Airlines. I don't know if they're still going, but it's just a lovely colour scheme. I do like that. I mean, if you can see it on the side of the box, I think there's a illustration of it on the side of the box here, as you can see. And if the writing looks backward in the video, sorry about it. It's where I've got the camera reversed, so on my phone. So you'll have to bear with us on that. But yeah, it does look a nice kit. And in fact, I've got some aftermarket decals for this for a British Airways aircraft that was used out in the Middle East, I think, on some of their charter flights. So yeah, nice kit. And also another Concorde. That's going to be 6 I've got in my stash now. I think I've only got 2 more to get, and then I've got a full complement. It's just the aftermarket decals I've got to get for them. Because what I'm going to do is the aircraft in all of its colour schemes, including possibly the one that was featured in Airport 80, because you can get them in aftermarket ranges across the channel from a well-known website. I'm trying to think who it is now. Well, I can't think off the top of my head. But I may well put it in the description of this video. So yeah, I'm going to be ordering a lot of those. And in fact, they've got the Concorde scheme when it's first delivering, when the old Air France scheme. So I'm going to get that as well. The last Air France scheme, I'm going to obviously do one in the old Negus scheme. I've got one for Singapore Airlines, they do, which I think we had Singapore Airlines on one side and British Airways on the other, if I remember rightly. I've got the decals for that. Also, I'll probably do another Negus one, which is Bravo Delta Golf, which was the pre-production aircraft that I actually have been on twice. First time was when I was at Farnborough in 1976 with my father, where they actually brought her in and put her on show when the Concorde was due to enter service, or it had entered service that year. So the pre-production aircraft was still being used then. I think it last flew around about December 1981. And then sadly it was used to cannibalise for spares to keep the rest of the fleet going. But they had actually, Brooklands Museum managed to buy it off of British Aerospace, who had it in storage at Filton, and they managed to spare some spare parts which were being used for the Concorde fleet, and managed to refurbish it, and it's now in the Brooklands Museum at Weybridge in all its full Negus beautiful scheme that I remember it being in. And they do what they call a Concorde experience, and it's actually sponsored by Captain Mike Bannister, who is actually the patron of the fund that keeps it going and keeps it preserved, because he used to be the head of the Concorde fleet. And I actually met him at Heathrow on a Father's Day with my late father. Smashing bloke, ever so nice to talk to, ever so approachable. I think he was just on the verge of retiring that year. So yeah, smashing bloke. Mike, if you're watching, hope you're keeping well, my friend. So yeah, I'm going to do a various number of schemes, including the well-known Air France Pepsi scheme. So that will be a nice one to do. So yeah, there you go. Right, moving on back to classic aircraft via the 50s and 60s. This is one I saw on eBay. Now, I had got the Lindbergh version, but to be honest, it is extremely crude, and you'd have to do a lot of scratch building to get the undercarriage on it. So I'm going to have that one and build it and put it in flight, although I will do some scratch building on it if I can, or possibly get some 3D parts. Maybe ask my brother to do that, possibly, if you don't mind, bro. Anyway, nearer the time, hint hint. Anyway, I saw this for a good deal and I had to snap it up. It's Extra Kits Swift FR5. It is a slightly better mould. They've got a resin seat in it and some, I think, an aftermarket sort of control column. You know, it's brass. Yeah, looks a nice kit actually, and they do some interesting subjects in the Extra Kit range, and I think they are actually sponsored by Hans themselves. So yeah. In fact, they do 2 versions on this one. You've got one of 79 Squadron in 61 and one of 2 Squadron in 1958. So yeah, there you go. That'd make a smashing little subject. And unfortunately, I don't remember, you did the 50th anniversary Hawker Harrier group build some years ago when I was still building. Sad to say, that aircraft met an unfortunate end the other week when I knocked it and it ended up on the floor in 1,000 pieces when I was cleaning. yeah, not good. Um, and obviously I haven't got the budget to fork out for a new kinetic kit because they are extremely expensive. And to be honest, my experience of a kinetic kit was not good because that thing fought me all the way, although the detail on them is super. But yeah, it's one of those. I think it's a brand of kit that you really need to know your subject to know what you're doing, and the instructions are a little bit Dragon-esque. If anybody's been through Dragon kits, you'll know what I mean. So yeah, so I've opted. I saw this one online for about 12 quid, along with some edge fret that's got with it. And went for the old venerable Tamiya kit. Now I know some people have said it's an awful kit, not extremely accurate. The only benefit it has got an engine in it, so I might get a sort of scratch built trolley or something and have the engine on display with it. And I possibly might do it in the Falkland scheme again, I don't know, but I've still got the base and I've still got the figure that goes with it, so we'll see. But I may well get some aftermarket decals. I mean, as I say, I've got an airwave set inside, which the buyer supplied us with kindly, and also a sort of partly painted Edward etch set as well, so that will come in handy. So there you go. And following on from that, well, I have to say I have a very, very special young lady in my life. Not a girlfriend, no, but she is the nearest thing I've got to a daughter, and bless her heart, the other weekend when I was poorly, she came over to visit me and see how I was, and along with that she brought her belated Christmas present with her as well, and that was my friend Brittany Abbey Nader, who is going to be 30 on the 29th. So darling, if you're watching this video, have a fantastic holiday, my love, and I love you to bits, because she went and bought me these God, what am I? Hobby 2000, which is a rebox of the Hasegawa kit, Harrier GR7, GR9, and I'm made up. I really am made up, because obviously this is a limited edition kit as well. And it's of one of my favourite aircraft, which is the Harrier. In fact, I was privileged to see the very last public display of the Harrier at Dunsfold Aerodrome in, I think, 2012. So yeah. And they've actually got 3 sets of markings. You've got the retirement scheme in the camo. You've got one with the shark's teeth, and then obviously you've got the one that was out in Afghanistan with the kill markings, which is featured on the box. Now the one I'm actually lured to is the one in the middle with the shark's teeth. That looks quite good. So that was, oh sorry, that's when it was out in Q8 in 2003. So yeah, the 4 Squadron, that's the one. So yeah, I'll be looking forward to building that. I'll probably get some aftermarket in for it just to make the cockpit look nice and busy as well. And if I can get hold of a figure, I will. Make it look so it's on the flight pan of Q8 airfield. So yeah, I'm really, really chuffed with that. And as I say, it does look a nice kit. I'm looking through it now, actually. Oh, I'm itching to build it. But yeah, trouble is, if I build it, I've got nowhere to put it here, unfortunately. So yeah. Anyway, going on to one for 44th. I don't know if you remember, some time ago I got the TU-134 UBL with a long sort of pointed nose, which was a training aircraft for a well-known bomber there, swing wing bomber, which is actually not unlike the Boeing B1. And I finally went and got it on a good deal. Again, it's produced by Zvezda. It's the TU-160 Blackjack. I must admit, although it's Russian, I mean, I don't condone what it represents at the moment, but in terms of engineering, it's a fantastic looking aircraft, and it is a beautiful looking aircraft too. It's just an awesome machine. And I'm not kidding you, even in 1/144th, I'm not kidding you, this is enormous. I mean, just look at the midsection of the actual fuselage in this. And that's in 1/144th. That's huge. That's an immense aircraft. And I must admit, the detail on it is super. Although, again, Super Detail do a set for it. It is quite expensive, so I think I'll wait till I'm a bit more flush to get hold of that. So, yeah. I wouldn't mind getting the actual TU night card bear that would go beside it as well. So, yeah. Anyway. Now, I'm not sure if I featured these in a previous video, but I'm going to put them by anyway, because I think I got them in fairly recently. One of them is one I had in my stash, but it was, if you remember, it was one I was doing for the GB group build some years ago, and I was going to do it in the all cock and brown scheme. It was an aircraft that was at Greenham Common, and I remember actually seeing it parked up there. In fact, I think I remember the day it flew in. They did have two separate aircraft, but the one that came in was actually with the two pilots, Lieutenant Alcock and Lieutenant Brown. Again, I managed to get this one in, and I did check the box, and it's not short moulded, thankfully this time. And yes, I will be getting the Super Detail etch brass set for the cockpit again. This is indeed one I got on eBay. I did pay about, what, £30 for it, but I thought I've got to get hold of it again, and I am going to do it in the all cock and brown scheme. It's the old 172nd McDonnell Douglas Phantom FGR2. I've got the FG1 naval version as well, so as and when I get around to it, I'm going to do that in that one. I'm doing it on the flight pan as though it's on the actual show at Greenham Common, because I think you can get some aftermarket sort of barriers that you can put around it, and I might do a little scratch built sort of sign or something. So yeah, that's some idea I've just got planted in my head, one of many, as I say. And this one, obviously, this is one of my favourite aircraft of World War II, a recent reissue. They keep reissuing this beautiful big awesome bird. It's an aircraft that every time I hear it I get goosebumps. It's of course the Avro Lancaster B3, and I've actually got it in the markings as one of the options of S for Sugar, which is at the Royal Air Force Museum at Hendon. Or you can do it in another aircraft which has got an alternate sort of red tail at the back there. So yeah, I have been trying to track down decals for an aircraft that was based at, where is it? Hemswell, because there is a video of a typical bomber raid. It was actually taken at the time in November 1944, called Night Bombers. In fact, if you will give me 2 seconds, I'll see if I can hand out the video, guys. Oh, hello, we've whited out a little bit. Do you know what? I'm going to pull this blind down. So bear with us, because it's getting a little bit bright in here. There's a lot of light interference. Let me see if I can dig it out. Bear with me 2 seconds, guys, because I've got it in my video library here somewhere. But it's a damn good film, all colour. I think it's also on YouTube, so you can actually download it from that. If I can find the link, I'll post it on my Facebook page. Where did I put it? Hang on. It's here somewhere. I know I put it here. Give me 2 seconds, guys. Yeah, here we go. And there's 2 other films I would recommend as well, which are based on the Lancaster. So I'll just put these DVDs back. Here we go. started. There we go. Right. Okay, here we go, guys. Right, this is the one I'm referring to. Night Bombers. And it was actually filmed at RAF Hemswell in November 1944. It's all colour cine film. And it's actually narrated by an actor called, if I can see it on the back, I didn't tell you. Ah, that's a shame. Yeah, it's narrated by an actor who was actually in the series. I don't know if anybody remembers the series Warship back in the 70s. Damn, I'm trying to think of the guy's name. It doesn't say who it's narrated by on the back of the DVD here, sadly. Let me have a look. No, it doesn't say. No, it doesn't say, unfortunately, so I'm sorry about that, guys. I was hoping to tell you who it was narrated by, but it was a well-known actor. I don't know if you remember. Some of you are old enough to remember the series Warship. But it's the guy who played the part of the captain's number one. He's the one who's narrating this. And it is a fascinating film to watch. If ever this is the only known colour film taken during World War II of a typical bomber mission, and all the maintenance behind the Lancasters and how everything was affected. But it's a super film. It's very interesting, especially the bit where they got the bomber going along the runway with the heavy bomber load. And apparently they had an Avro Anson, or was it a Proctor or Tudor, flying alongside it on the runway. So yeah, awesome film. It is a very fascinating film. It really is. So if you can find it on YouTube, watch it. It really is good. So yeah. Also, another one I would recommend is this one, Lancaster Skies. It's about set in the spring of '44. It's about a fighter pilot who becomes a bomber pilot, and obviously he's getting to get the relationship going with his crew. And admittedly, at the end of it on the bombing raid, some of the scenes are a bit crude. There's no sort of CGI as such, but the actual story behind it is very, very good. So I recommend that one. And then obviously the recent documentary, because they did one on the Spitfire, is this one, Lancaster. You've got all the recollections of most of the bomber crews on this, and the actual history of the aircraft itself. And there's some superb photography in it as well. So yeah, by all means get them. I really would recommend them. Anyway, getting back to what I had in the stash, because I was getting off on the beaten track there, because we're about half an hour in now. So that's that one, done the Lanc. Again, you can't, for a good 1/72 kit, you cannot beat Airfix. I mean, just look at the level of detail on it. Absolutely fantastic. As I say, you've even got the navigator's map that goes onto his desk, on his navigator station. So awesome, absolutely awesome. I might do a nice little vignette for this as well, as though it's being bombed up or fueled up. I don't know, I'll have to wait and see. So yeah, it's an option. So I think that's all the aircraft covered, and now we are going on a slight maritime theme, because obviously last year and recently Airfix reissued some of their naval 1600 ships. Some of them are still available, but I think one of them is gonna start going out of production again soon, and I'm glad I got it. First off, we're going to have a well-known ship, which actually took part in the Falklands War. She was the last steam turbine engined ship of the Royal Navy. Sadly, neither her or her sister were basically preserved, because I think that was disgusting, and because she was used as a point whereby the Argentinian forces sign the document of surrender on her, and it's of course HMS Fearless. Now, I've not had this kit before. It's not bad for its age. White Ensign is a company that does any etched brass sets for these ships. They recently, I think a few years ago, were taken over by a US firm because they went bust, but they've taken a lot of their stock in and reissued it. So look up White Ensign and you'll be able to get etched brass sets if you want to super detail these. This I may well do possibly as though it's in the Falkland Sound. I might have to replace these with some these Wessex. Oh, I don't know, the Wessex might be okay actually. I might get some Sea Kings as well for that period. So I might do that as a little seascape, possibly as though it's on Teal Inlet or something, where they were offloading the troop carriers as they came ashore in the Falklands. So yeah, that might be an idea. Also, I managed to get a kit which I'd previously had many years ago, but never got around to building it, and I'm glad they reissued it. It's a county class frigate, again in the vintage classics range of 1/600 ships. It's the frigate HMS Devonshire. Now, I know a few of her sisters survived through to the Falklands War. Devonshire sadly didn't. She was paid off at the same time the old flat top R09 Ark Royal, and if you remember the series Sailor in 1976 for the old Phantoms and Buccaneers, that's the one I'm referring to, was paid off and scrapped at the very same place at Kennel Laird in Scotland in about 1980 as well. So she paid off around about the same time the Ark did. So she never actually got to see the Falklands War, I don't think, but her sisters did. So yeah, I don't think there's any of them left now, sadly. And this one is an old venerable classic of the classic vintage ship range. I've built this twice on previous occasions in my youth. The only thing that I would say that's not very good on it is its air group. I might have to look at trying to get some 3D printed ones, possibly. I know you can get a set of them and a 3D printed Ark Royal in 1/600. Mind you, that would cost you £75. Yeah, it's a garage built kit, as it were. Yeah, I've got this one. It was a ship that was actually used in the Second World War. Took part in the Hunt of the Bismarck and various other campaigns, and was out in the Pacific as well, in the latter Pacific campaign towards the end of the war. It is the venerable ship HMS Victorious, but obviously when they issued this, it was when she'd just retired in '66, and had her full modernisation for an angled deck, steam catapults, etc, etc, etc. But as I say, it's an old kit, it's a bit crude. Again, I think White Ensign, you can get some etched brass sets. And I may look at modifying this. I may, yeah, because I think I'm going to try and see if I can detail it a bit better than what it is and do it in a seascape. Some people have actually got hold of this kit and converted it into the, in fact one guy, I think he converted it into the Canadian aircraft carrier they had at one time. He did quite a clever conversion on it. So yeah, I think one guy actually turned it into HMS Hermes. So yeah, you could do quite a bit with one of these if you put your mind to it. So yeah, that one is one project I'm looking forward to getting, and I'm glad I got it because I think this one's going out of circulation again now. So there you go. Anyway, moving on to armoured vehicles now on the final run. This is a classic army vehicle which I'm probably going to feature in a vignette along with my tack-on Chieftain Mark II, which is over in the background, which I featured in my last stash update. It's the old venerable Land Rover 109 long wheelbase from Italeri. It's not a bad little kit actually, and would look good alongside the Chieftain as though it was out in the field and they were just having a rest and a tea break, etc, on exercise or something. Because you can get a set of figures to go with the Chieftain, which are resin printed, with them sitting on front of the tank, all having a cup of char and whatever. So I may source some other figures out with it and do a little vignette. That's an idea for the future. For the future. So yeah, you've got two options on this actually. I actually could put this alongside the AS90 that I've actually got, the Trumpy one. You've got one for the I-4 mission, which was out in Bosnia in the mid-90s, and then obviously you've got another version which is with the field ambulance in '84. So yeah, it's not a bad little kit. I think they get away with it. Yeah. So there you go. And another sort of similar vehicle that was used during the Second World War by the German army, or the Wehrmacht as they called it, and used in all theatres of war. I think out in North Africa as well, except the Pacific obviously. It's the Horsch 4x4. This one I got for about 13 quid, believe it or not, off Amazon. Which was a damn good deal. It does look a nice little kit. Obviously you get the figure with it as well, and then obviously you got the felt covering with it. They do various versions of the Horsch actually to me, so yeah, that'll make a nice one for a sort of vignette. Maybe a Russian campaign one. Hello, looks like he's gone off air. Okay, let's go back to menu. Yeah, sorry, bear with me a minute guys. These things always happen when you're in the middle of doing a video, don't they? Right, I'm just going to get back to my mate. Oh, hello. Yeah, we had a bit of an incident with Mr. Dwyer today because he was due to do a broadcast from Lakenheath with the squadrons being on exercise, but unfortunately I'm due to a fire at the airfield. The stream was delayed, so he's now driven back and he's doing a live stream, as you can see, at Heathrow, and it looks like it's just started raining there, although it's dry here at the moment, and Heathrow's virtually up the road from me, about what, half an hour drive, so yeah, or 40-minute drive anyway. But I love watching jets in the rain. It really is awesome. Anyway, getting back to what I was saying, so now we're getting into the 40-minute range, which is one of the longest videos I've done for a stash update. This is another one based on the old 8-ton semi-truck vehicle, or Hanamag. Oh, it's not the Hanamag, it's the other one. What was it? I don't know. But it was built with a really great big anti-tank gun, and I've sort of umming and ahhing it over the past year and a half when I saw it on Amazon and eBay. But I picked this one up from, I think it was Jadlam, for about 14 quid because they did it on a deal. And I sat and watched Champion Scale Modelling because he's been doing a build series on it. He said the only thing that's bad on it is the tracks, obviously. He did get some aftermarket, but they were no good. But I might well see if I can try and find some Fruhl tracks or Spade 8, see if they do them. And it is the 8-ton semi-track 20mm flak feeling, that one there. It's an old kit, but it's a good one. It's got the crew figures in it. I'll probably have to get an aftermarket set. I think Edward do one for it. So I'll look that up and get that in. And again, that's going to be a winter scheme version for a future project. And this one is a recent release. I think it was one of the last releases that Tamiya did for 2022. It's a vehicle I've actually seen in reality itself at Tankfest. And it is a noisy bloody thing because it's actually got a Merlin engine in it, and it's actually what they call a Meteor. Well, that version they call a Meteor engine, but it's a fast vehicle, and it was one that was used towards the end of the Second World War, and I think it was also used in Korea as well. It is, of course, the A34 British cruiser tank, the Comet. Does look a nice kit. The figures are beautiful in it. The mantlet cover, I think somebody does do an aftermarket version of it just to improve it, so I might get hold of that. And I'll see if I can get a stowage set for it as well. Yeah, that's going to make a nice subject. So there you go. Anyway, moving on from that, something I haven't had actually bought in my stash for a long time, and it's a dragon kit. The only reason I bought this one is because I saw it on offer for £39, and for dragon, oh, there's Jerry himself. Hello. Say about that, as he would say. Anyway, if you want to watch that, watch Big Jet TV. Check him out. There you go. I've done you a blooming shout out, Jerry. So there you go. Anyway, moving on. Easy for you to say. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, it's a dragon kit. It's the first one I've bought in quite a while. It's a Panther D, but the unusual thing with this one is it's got what they call Stadcast tanks, which are featured on the back here. So I think they used this one on the Ardennes campaign. I'm not sure because it's got a sort of winter scheme on it. So that's going to make for an interesting build in the future. Anyway, so yeah, I'm quite looking forward to that one. And any stash edition, as you well know, I can't go without a tiger. Rifle just recently issued this one, and when they did, I thought, there's no way I'm letting this bugger slip out my hands, and I actually got this one for about £39 from the buyer. I think it was out in China, and this one actually got through in about 2 weeks, which I was very surprised and very pleased about. What did I get from eBay? Oh, hang on, sorry, what am I about? No, I didn't. I'll take that back. I actually got this one from Jadlam for £39, and I had it on offer, so it was nearly gone. And it is, of course, the VK4501H Tiger Experimental Series. This is actually the prototype, so hence the scheme. It's up to Rifle's brilliant standards. You've got a partial interior in it, and obviously you've got the option of some parts from an early version as well. So that I'm glad I got, because that is my essential Tiger to start off my Tiger series, because I think I'm going to be doing a series of Tiger builds over the next few years when I get building, doing the whole range of development of the Tiger. So yeah, that's a good start. In fact, I might do that as a vignette along with the amusing hobby Tiger P, the Porsche Tiger, with some figures as though it's being presented to Hitler. And I've got a little figure of Hitler as well. So that would make a very authentic historical vignette. So yeah, that would be a good one to do, and I'm glad I got this one in, because I was opting for the trumpeter one, but when I saw this, I thought, no, this is the one. This is the one. So that will go alongside my other Tigers now, and I think that makes about 9 in my stash now compared to what I used to have. I think I used to have about 24, 25 Tigers in my stash at the old place, but there you go. Some of them you can't get hold of anymore. Oh, what an idiot I was there. And finally, this was one that came out just before Christmas, and it's quite apt because obviously we sadly lost our beloved Queen Elizabeth at the age of 97, after she just had a platinum jubilee, and that was 3 months later. And as a tribute to her, as soon as I saw this was being issued, I put down a pre-order around about, I think it was May last year when it was announced, with MJW Hobbies. The first batch sold through, and then he had a second batch which came through around about November, latter part of November, and it's Gecko models Katie ambulance along with the figure of the Queen, and I'm going to be doing it with the figure of the Queen as a tribute to her. You do have the added option of doing the actual vehicle which features in the film Ice Cold Alex on this as well. But what I think I'll do at a later date is get the other one, because there is an early version production version of this ambulance which has just recently come out from Gecko as well. This one was a limited edition range with the figure of the Queen, so that's why I got it. And the sculpt on the figure of the Queen is beautiful. In fact, if I can get it out, if I get the box open, the box isn't the easiest to open. Let's have a look. Oh, just cut myself on, give myself a paper cut. Oops. I will be doing an inbox review of this at some stage, by the way, guys. Yeah, here we go. There's the sculpt of the Queen. If I get it out. There's her tunic. I don't know if you can see the detail on it. It's absolutely exquisite. Now, if I can find the figurehead of the face. Where are we? Is it on there? Oh yeah, here we go. Is that it? No, I don't know if it is. Is that it? God, I can't see. I'm trying to find it. Actually, I'll have to take it out of the bag because it's a resealable bag. Bear with me. He says. Oh, here we go. There we are. I don't know if you guys can see it, but look at the sculpt on the face. Absolutely brilliant. It really is well done. And obviously there's her cap. There's a little bit of flash on there, but nothing that Santa can't sort out. But the sculpt on the face is absolutely brilliant. Really brilliant. Really well done. So yeah, as I say, at some stage I will be doing an inbox review of this kit. So there you go. But yeah, I'm glad I got it, to be honest with you. It's an area I think that's been neglected for years. And the good thing with Deco is that they bring out the most unusual British subjects that most mainstream kit firms have never produced. So yeah, I might be getting a few more of their kits actually. They're not cheap, I will give you that, but the detail on them and what you get for your money is superb. So yeah, I'd heartily recommend that. So there you go. So guys, that brings us to the end of my stash update at nearly 50 minutes because we're on the 48-minute mark plus at the moment. As I say, as and when I get some time, I'll do some more inbox reviews for you. And I'm actually thinking of trying to get my modelling hand back in and doing a figure because I've got 1 or 2 figures in my stash. But I've just got to wait to get some cheap airbrush in and then possibly later get spray booth in. So yeah. Anyway, I'm going to finish now because I've been waffling on for nearly 50 minutes. I'm going to get back to watching Jerry on his live stream at Heathrow and chilling. I'm going to get myself some lunch and chill and back to work tomorrow. 2 late shifts. And then I've got the weekend off. So if I get time, I will probably throw out an inbox review for you of any of these kits. So until then, stay safe, keep well, because obviously COVID is still amongst us, it's still prevalent, and get kit crazy and take care of yourselves, and I will speak to you guys just as soon as I can. All right, cheers for now, bye.